Hi, Sharon Brennan here, Cottage Lane Stamper. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and about 4 years ago, for my 70th birthday, I made these cute little bakery boxes for a mini cupcake, and I'll put a link into that video for you below. But I said in that video mistakenly that you could also make one for a regular size cupcake from an 8x8 sheet of cardstock, 2 8x8 sheets of cardstock. These were 6x6, 2 sheets. So if you want to make the mini ones, you can make 2 boxes from one 12x12 sheet of cardstock. And I like to use the cardstock instead of DSP. It's just a little bit sturdier. Anyway, I wanted to do some Valentine cupcakes for my neighbors, and I've got all the makings and everything. Haven't made them yet because it's a couple days too early. But when I went to use the dimensions that I said in my previous video, I said cut your cardstock 8x8 and score at the same places, which was 2 inches all the way around. Well, it doesn't really make sense for the, I must have been having another morning like I am this morning, getting up too early. Anyway, I've tried to make 3 different boxes this morning. I was going to make the one that Sarah Douglas showed a few years ago, I think it's 2018, on her Facebook page, and to use a pizza box for the bottom, which is a good idea, but I thought it was a little complicated with the cutting and everything. And I'd wondered if the pizza box, which fit in the bottom, and you make a hole in it, would be too heavy once you got the cupcake in, and if it would just fall out. I mean, it's good if you maybe would secure the sides with some tape or something like that to hold it together until you actually wanted to open it, because there's no way to open it. This is the only way to open it, is by lifting it up. Anyway, so I played with that, and then I found my pizza boxes I thought were individual boxes. We're not pizza boxes at all. So it's been quite a morning getting to this point. So I decided to go back to this little box and make it for a regular size cupcake. Now you could do this, I'm going to cover it I think with DSP, or just leave it simple like this and maybe put a stamp on the front that says "Sweet Treat for You" or something like that. I haven't really decided yet, but I wanted to correct my error in making the previous box. So we're going to start out with 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and we're going to cut them to 8 1/4 and 8 1/4. So I've done this box 3 times this morning. So I woke up early, like 4:30, and sometimes my mind just gets racing and I can't go back to sleep. So it's now 4 hours later. Yep, pretty much. So we're going to cut this 8 1/4. I've got to make sure I have my directions here. 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. So you're just taking 1/4 of an inch off of this. So if you want to mark it from here, 8 1/4, or if you want to go over to the other side and mark it at 8 1/4. Same difference. So cut that off. And then you'll have little pieces left over for other things. So we've got 1 and 8 1/4 and 8 1/4. I don't know if any of you suffer from insomnia, but I do frequently. So lots of times I spend the day in my pajamas. And my neighbors know that, so thankfully. So now we are going to score this. In my previous video I said for the regular size, score it at 2 2 inches all the way around, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do it the right way. So it's going to be at 2 3/4. You can see that. Get the cutting blade out of the way. 2 3/4. 2 3/4. 2 3/4 and 2 3/4. We're going to set that one aside. That one's going to be our bottom. And we're going to score this one at the same. So 2 3/4. 2 3/4. And 2 3/4. Now, we're going to cut out 2 squares, and we're going to cut flaps on 2. So I'm just going to I'm going to leave it right in here. I'm going to move my cutting blade back up to the top, and I'm going to score down to, did I not? Oh, wait, I missed the side here. 2 3/4. Okay. Get that one out of the way. 2 3/4. Okay. So now we're going to use our cutting blade, and we're going to cut down to this score mark. If you can see that. Let's zoom in a little bit. So I can feel it here, and I can see it. So I'm going to cut at 2 3/4 down to 2 3/4. So you could also use the measuring guide on your side here. And then we're going to slide it down to the next score line here. Oh, zoom out a little bit. We're going to go down to the next score line here and score that. Now, on the other end, we are going to cut out the corners. So we're going to do the same thing, go down to 2 3/4. I made it all the way, pretty close. And start at the score line, 2 3/4, and then we're going to cut out these squares. So just turn it 90 degrees counterclockwise, and I'm going to cut out 2 of these corners. And I didn't get it all the way, but that's okay. I'd rather do a little bit less and cut with my scissors than too much. So we're just going to cut these out all the way. Just snip it up. I love our scissors because they are so fine pointed that you can really get in there if you have the ability and cut right to the edge of your scissors. There, so we got those out. So this will be the top of our box. Now, I did a previous sample, like I said, this morning, and if you want to do the, I wanted to do a heart. In this one, I did a circle, so it really didn't matter so much. But in this square, we're going to put a window. And if you want to put the window in, I took a photo of it, and I'm going to put that in there because I'm not going to trust my memory right now. But I think, so if you wanted to put the heart die in there at this point, I had one here, I must have put it away. Oh, I had to go find a heart because I wanted to show it to you with a heart. And anyway, if you want to do a shape and you want it to be at the top of your box, like this, actually, you're going to want to put it right here so that this flap is at the top and that your shape, your die cut shape, come to think of it, because this is 8 inches, 8 1/4, it won't fit through your die cutting machine. That's why I went with the shape, the punched out shape. So, but if you wanted to do the mini box, that is where it would go, would be right there. So that it's facing towards you when you open the box, if that makes sense. So anyway, we are going to put the rest of this top together, and we're going to burnish these score lines. And probably, well, it's easier to cut it in the paper trimmer here. So there. Now, this is going to go together like, well, we're going to stop right there. It's going to go together like, oh, I need one more line to burnish. So it's going to go together like this. And this will be the top of your box, and it'll flip open like this. This will get attached to the base here. And we will put, when we put it together, if I remember right, I'm going to do that right now. We're going to put adhesive on so I remember. But we're going to go like this, and we're going to tuck these sides in behind the front so that it gives it a more finished look. So we're going to put adhesive on here right now. And I'm going to use tear and tape because you're going to want to use a strong adhesive. You could use Stampin' Seal Plus, tear and tape, or you could use glue. But just for photographic purposes, so you can see where it is, I'm going to put it here. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, you can as you go along. So that is where your adhesive is going to go for the top. Okay? Now, we're going to do the bottom. So basically the same. Let me make sure I'm got my directions right here. And so we are going to cut the bottom. I'll bring our paper trimmer back in, and we're going to cut here and here and here and here on the score lines. Okay? We're not cutting anything out. We're just cutting along the score lines. So you can do this with your scissors too. I'm just going to, for the sake of doing it with my paper trimmer for you guys, 2 3/4 right there. So we're gonna, can't see that, I'm gonna move this box out of here so I can move my paper trimmer up higher. So hopefully the whole thing's in there. There we go. 2 3/4. And at the 2 3/4 mark again here at the score line, all the way to the top, slide it, flip it around, and then you do 2 3/4. You can double check to make sure that your score line lines up with the cutting gutter of your trimmer. Or you can just do this by hand with your scissors. So now, this is what your bottom is going to look like with 2 flaps, okay? So now we are going to burnish these. And you want to give them a nice sharp crease. Flip it around. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do. If I'm going to do mini cupcakes or full-size cupcakes. That's why I've done the mini one like this. And this is nice because you can put the window in there with the window sheet. And you can look down. It's just cute. I might do the mini ones, but I wanted to correct this faux pas from the previous video. So we are going to put adhesive strip on here too, just so you know where your adhesive goes. Sometimes we tend to go too fast and it's hard to take screenshots, and I'll try to do, I took a couple of screenshots as I was putting this together, so hopefully it will help. If you can see that. Sometimes I have a tendency to work really towards myself, and then I realize, oh, you're out of camera there, girl. That's not very helpful. So I'm going to put that, and I found that with my tear and tape, if I give it a good rub with my bone folder, the backing seems to come off easier. Just little things I've found along the way. You can peel it off with your fingers. Some people have trouble with dexterity, and they'll use their take your pick tool and lift it up. Like that. And we'll take this one off and this one off. I'm going to do one side at a time here. So we're going to tuck these in behind here, just square it up. And there's a little tape there, and I'm just going to fold that back. Big deal. So we're going to fold that up. And then this is where doing all your adhesive strips at the same time works nicely. There's a little glue there, a little came over the top. I'm going to put this in there, tuck it inside. One in, square it up, and there we have the bottom of our box. Now we're going to go back to our top, and we're going to put adhesive on this part here, and for this I'm actually going to use glue, just because you have a little bit more give with glue as far as moving it around when you're lining it up. So I'm going to line this up to the back of our box. I'm going to see which side looks the best. I think we'll do this one for the front. So we're just going to line this up with the back of our box. I like to keep it on the table. And the bottom's on the bottom of the table, hopefully. And give it a nice press. And there is our box. Now we are going to tuck these two in here to the front. But before we do that, we're going to make a little angle cut right here, so it kind of looks more like a bakery box. So I want to make sure I get the cuts right, kind of keep it closed. Right up to the corner. Do the same thing on the other side. Do you remember how I did that? Very short-term memory, and this isn't critical. I mean, these can be however much of an angle you want to give them. So there we have that. So now we are going to put our adhesive, our box top together here. So we're going to peel this off here. And we're going to tuck it behind the front flap to give it a nice finished look. It's so dry in here that the backing is sticking to my hands. So there is our box, and then we can go put our little heart on it. One more step before we finish, before we go to decorating. I'm going to take my 3/4 inch circle punch, and this isn't too highly recommended, but I'm going to punch through 3 layers for a thumb hole. So I'm just going to go half a circle in here, and then midway between the 2 sides. So and it'll be hard because it's 3 layers, but it's not really good for the punch. But if you don't do it too often, I suppose it's okay. So now, there is our box, and I have a little lovely red heart, all die cut out, to put on it. So, there are the 2 different boxes, and these are the 2 mini boxes. So I'll put a link to my previous video. I'll also put all the dimensions for the new size in my blog, cottageLaneStamper.com. My previous videos at I can't even talk this morning, cottageLaneStamper.blogspot.com. But I'll put a link to it in this video as well, so that if you want to look at it, you can. But anyway, I'd like to hear your comments and which size do you think would be best. Now, thank you for stopping in, and I appreciate your comments. Let me know which size box you want to use and how easy you found it to make. So I hope you enjoyed this. Take care and happy Valentine's Day. God bless.